no matter where you are in life. Texas Southmost College is here to help you move forward. Whether you're starting fresh, changing careers, or gaining new skills, TSC has affordable programs designed to fit your goals. It's time to take the next step. Think big. Think bright. Think TSC.
This summer, it's time to go outside and get some air. Explore a pirate ship. Or go horseback riding on the beach. And you can't forget about all the fun on the bay. South Padre Island has so much to do for the whole family. Book your summer getaway today. Visit SoPadre.com.
Fiber, this is our home. Take a look at what we do.
At Marine Military Academy, we educate those who dare to achieve. Those eager to control their future before it controls them. Those who can follow a path so they can eventually make their own. Those ready to join in order to stand out. Welcome to MMA, Forging Tomorrow's Leaders.
Good morning, everybody. We are back for another episode of Coffee with Coach O live in the Bloodhound Cafe on a Monday morning, October 20th, as we are quickly approaching the final stretch. Good morning, Coach, of the regular season, and the Lady Bloodhounds continuing to try and will their way into the postseason. The current district standings, the Lady Bloodhounds currently in that fourth spot with a 4-5 record. Laredo St. Augustine on the outside looking in at 4-6. And then everyone else, you're looking up in the district with Victoria with just one district loss, Sax with 2 district losses, and St. Mary's with...
Is that updated? Because they only have
No, the
6
win
matches
column is not
right
updated,
here.
but the loss column
Yes.
is, yes. So you have Victoria St. Joe, Sax, St. Mary's, St. Joe, and then Laredo, St. Augustine, and then you have Providence and St. Anthony's. So, Coach, we'll just start with the headliner, and not going to bury the lead here, and that's the race for the playoffs. And just mathematically, the team's still alive, still an opportunity to make it into the playoffs. There's a couple of ways that St. Joe can make the playoffs. Tomorrow, you never want to be in a spot where you have to scoreboard watch.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the case this year, where we have our own business to handle tomorrow with St. Mary's, but certainly we'll be scoreboard watching the St. Anthony's Laredo match, because that match certainly has a lot of playoff implications.
That'll definitely have implications. But
Yes. Yeah, the magic number is going into it was at a 5-7 could get you in, and which both St. Joe and Laredo could finish at 5-7, but it would be the head-to-head
right.
that would keep us out of the playoffs. We would lose that head-to-head. Can you explain on why how that head-to-head works?
So when you finish tied, there's different ways of doing it, but I know here at St. Joe what we've gone with is head-to-head. So if you and I are playing each other and you beat me in three sets, and I come back and beat you, but I beat you in 4 sets, then you're the upper seed because you won in less sets. So right now we're at 4 and 5. Laredo beat us in 4. We beat them in 5. So they would have the upper seed. There's other. I know sometimes they've gone with flip of the coin. They've gone with points, but that's been a long time since they've done that. So that wouldn't even be, I don't think, a factor right now.
Right.
But so they basically right now we're up just because they've played one
more game than we have.
more match than we have.
Yep.
So we just have to. It's a waiting game, basically.
Right. Yeah. We the Lady Bloodhounds do have 3 games left, starting tomorrow. Our final home game against St. Mary's, and on Thursday we will travel to Providence. That's a road game, and then next Tuesday will be the regular season finale at Victoria St. Joe. Now Laredo does have. They have 2 matches left. They have St. Anthony's tomorrow, and then their regular season will wrap up against San Antonio Christian. But for this team, like we mentioned, they've been in playoff mode really the last week and a half, really since we started the second half stretch.
Yeah.
And again, it's still a possibility. It's an outside shot, but tomorrow, I mean, what would help too?
Stranger things have happened.
Absolutely. I've been saying that this team's due for an upset somewhere along the way. That's another possibility, is that, if you could win 2 out of your last 3, whether it's pick your upset. Do you want to upset Victoria? Do you want to upset St. Mary's? And then you sandwich that in with the Providence.
Which we have to go and do our job.
Right.
It's not a
guarantee.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
Not a guarantee, but if you can take 2 out of the last 3, that can get you to 6 wins. So I mean, so there's still plenty of possibilities for this team to make the postseason. But again, tomorrow starts with St. Mary's. Now, if Laredo wins and we lose, that'll essentially do it by the numbers. But if we happen to lose and Laredo loses, well, there's still an opportunity.
Yeah, and
there.
see, let's say tomorrow we win, and we don't win in 3. We're still not, because they beat us in 3. St. Mary's, you know what I mean? So there's so many factors that you have to.
Even if you finish, because just say in theory, we're 4 and 5, 4, 5. We win out. We finish 7 and 5, and Laredo finishes 5 and 7. That we should be in.
Yeah,
if we win out.
Yeah, if we win out.
Yeah, because that's one way.
Yeah.
Or win 2 out of the last 3. That puts you at 6 wins, and that could get you in because Laredo can still beat St. Anthony's tomorrow, and then we would need San Antonio Christian to beat them in the regular season finale, and that would put them at 5 wins. And if we were to take 2 out of the last 3, that would get us to 6 wins.
Yeah.
So
it's possible. It's very possible, and it is doable. You've seen them. You've seen what they can do when they're on. And playing. a little bit less error free and stuff, and just that you know, go all out, leave it all on the court type of play, and I've seen them do it too. So I'm not saying it's not possible. It
Right.
is possible.
Right.
You know, I know they can do it.
Yeah.
It's just you know.
Yeah, and it's just to me, you know, it just goes back to that the game that really hurts is
Laredo.
that first match in
Mhm.
Laredo, and I think that's the big difference here, and that, you know, we need to, you know, what is it, beat a dead horse, but that was just
Yeah.
one of the more
No.
one of the more frustrating afternoons certainly of the year, but you know, but this team again still in the playoff picture, and the you know, really again, you know, we pick things back up tomorrow with St. Mary's, who's a team that very good and much improved. So, you know, but my thing too is that, you know, teams like that, you know, they're gonna have a hiccup at some point.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, to me, it's very
Hopefully it'll be with us.
hopefully hopefully it'll be with us here at home. You know, teams having to travel, because we've already seen the effects of the dome.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen teams come in and right away it's in their head that
Mhm.
it's too hot in here. They hang out, you know, teams that, you know, they try to find ways to, you know, they cool off. You know, our girls are just sitting there in the dome waiting, and, you know, they're trying to find different ways. You know, they sit in the
Mhm.
student center, they sit by the fan, and it's like, you know, that's the part of the home court advantage
Yeah.
that this team has. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, we'll see how it rolls, but so again, yeah, the Lady Bloodhounds currently in the 4th spot, with 3 games left. Laredo has 2 games left, and really it's a 2-team race for that 4th spot going into what's really the final week of the season. This team though did show some grit against Laredo last Tuesday
Mhm.
in 5 sets. I mean, that was a match where by the numbers, St. Joe needed to win in 3 in
Mhm.
order to win that head-to-head.
Mhm.
That didn't happen, but still, at the end of the day, you know, that win is a win. And just talk about those 5 sets and how you know, just that was vintage.
St. Joe.
Yeah, 5 sets.
Yeah. What was that? Was that just the second one in the season?
That was the second one.
Second
yeah.
one this season.
Roma was the first,
Yeah.
and that was the first 5th set in district.
Yeah.
We hadn't played 5 sets yet.
Yeah. I thought we started off not really good. You know, that our serve receive was off that first set, and you know, Laredo came out firing. You know, which I knew they would, because when we played at Laredo, that was our biggest problem, was our serve receive. You know, and it was from that first set, and I don't remember what the score was.
It was 25-13 in the first set.
In the first set.
Yep.
And it was when that happened, I had flashbacks of Laredo because that's really where we were at, basically, in that first set in Laredo also. And you know, but then we kind of settled down, you know, and made a few adjustments and stuff, and it was like, okay, if you're going to do this, you got to go now. You know, if we would have finished in 4, then that creates a different scenario of how you, if we would have, you know, finished tied in district, then that creates a different scenario on how you determine who's where. But obviously we didn't. But I thought we came back, adjusted, you know, made a few changes, and just basically just stormed back in. You know, the score of that second set was 25-18. Yeah, and then we won the third one.
Yes, 25-22.
Yeah,
little
and then we
closer.
decided to take a break.
25-20 in the
Yeah,
4th set.
and that was really frustrating for me, you know, to see them go up and down and stuff and not, you know, continue at that same level. And, you know, Laredo made some adjustments too, which, you know, kudos to them, because we could have won that 4th set also.
Right.
And then we would have ended up, you know,
And
tied.
needed for it.
Yeah, so, but I mean, I give my kids a lot of credit, you know, for coming back and winning that match, because it would have been real easy to say, we're out already, so what's the point, you know? But they didn't.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they won that 5th set 15-8.
yeah,
pretty
and, you know,
convincingly.
during that 5th set, I kept thinking to myself, you know, okay, we're not going to take it in 4, obviously, because here we are in the 5th. And I think I don't know, I might have made a comment to one of them that was going to go serve or whatever. And I said, you know what, even though this game doesn't have necessarily right now playoff implications, you need to take this. This is your home court. You know, you've got your fans here. You're not in Laredo. Let's do this. Let's get this match. And, you know, they did. So I was really proud of them for that, because, like I said, it could have been really easy to say we're out already.
Right.
But
Yeah. I know for sure that was one of the more grittier performances we've seen, and again, the first time in a while we see them go to 5 sets, and you know, a part of the team too, they wanted that
yeah.
that win.
Well, yeah. I
just to
mean,
kinda
after
after
vindicate ourselves a little bit, you know.
yeah, after that first match, you know, like, okay, like we'll put that in
Yeah.
the back of our brain as a competitor. You're like, well, remember when you guys come back home on our court. So
Yeah.
I mean, again, by the numbers, it would have helped if it would have helped a lot if it would have been in a sweep.
Yeah.
And that meant we would have won the tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the win still helps
Mm-hmm.
in the final standings and kind of just sets up the final 3 games.
Yeah.
You know, later in the week on Saturday, the Lady Bloodhounds did pick up a win in straight sets against San Antonio St. Anthony's. And I thought that was one of the more, certainly the quickest game.
Yeah.
It was only like an hour and
I thought
20.
we were pretty consistent.
Yes, yeah.
I thought
It
we were
was-
pretty consistent. Overall, you
Mhm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't make a whole lot of errors.
Right.
And it's real easy when you play teams that you know are not a playoff team, you know, to say, it's easy. Let's just kind of sit back and. But I thought, I thought for the most part that we were pretty consistent. And I think the kids just responded to the fact that we're in the down stretch and, you know, we're on the home stretch and
Yep.
you need to just take care of business when you need to control what you can control.
Right.
And I thought it was pretty good. So I was proud of them.
No, for sure. And it not only was like the quickest game, I think it was like an hour and 20 minutes. But also like we mentioned, it was the cleanest game, and I thought the communication and the energy was really good, considering it's a Saturday road game. Usually, you know, those games are a little
They're
tougher to travel, a little
sluggish, yeah.
sluggish out of
Yeah.
the gate. But no, I thought Saturday they played really clean, and you know, we saw Valentina make her varsity debut, and we saw some flashes there with her, and you know, just what can be in the upcoming years. And
Yeah, and I've been watching her, the whole season on the JV team, that she plays sometimes both, but definitely at the level where she could contribute to varsity. And she did have a few little hiccups, but it makes sense because and I expected it because she hasn't been practicing with the team. So it makes a difference, when you're used to a certain setter, and then you all of a sudden you're hitting against a different setter, and it's like, oh, when do I go? Like the set is either higher or lower. Or our sets are definitely lower than the JV sets. The JV sets, I'm like going, oh, okay, you can come on down now, ball, because they're so high,
Yeah.
And so she has a lot of time, and at the varsity level, they're not the same. And then, of course, she's used to one setter, and we use 2. So now you're even having more of a, variable on the height of the set and stuff like that. But, I thought she did. She contributed. She contributed from the service line. That was for sure.
Yep.
She did real well, and she's pretty consistent. So I didn't, and it's a good thing that I contacted Mom. I contacted her the night before, and I said, hey, can she go? Because we would have ended up, what did we have? We had 5 hitters with her. We would have had 4, which meant we would have had to have 2 setters going all the way around instead of just 1. And, I'm sure we could have still done it, but why tempt fate?
Right.
So.
Right. But nonetheless, a good win for the Lady Bloodhounds, winning in straight sets, 25-18, 25-12, 25-20, and it was a little bit of a different St. Anthony's team from the first time around. you know, the first time around they were a little more competitive, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean,
They
just-
were more competitive, and I was really surprised because they weren't really swinging much.
they
You know,
didn't, yeah.
I think they had maybe 2 girls that were
Mhm.
hitting, but it wasn't as like it was the first time we played them.
Now, don't get me wrong. You know that
The
first
scores,
set.
I mean,
Yeah, the first and third set were. I mean, the second set we just completely dominated,
Mhm.
but the first and third set, we saw so many digs and so many
Mhm.
times they kept
Mhm.
that ball up, and I'm like, I was like,
well, you know, that I think it was the third set where I think they called a timeout, and what they did was they had the libero on the left, and when we started hitting to the middle and to the right, they switched her to the middle, and I mean I kind of tell them, like, you know, away from the libero, but sometimes I don't think they look to see where the libero is, because I mentioned it in that third set because I don't remember, I think it was Sienna that was hitting, and I said, you can't hit to the middle, that's where the libero is. And she said, isn't she on the left? And I said, no, they switched her to the middle. And she was like, oh. So you know, those little adjustments are going to make a huge difference in the game, especially when you have a libero that picks up everything.
Yep.
And you know, she is good.
Mhm.
And so we really have to be aware of what changes they make, if they make changes. You know, if you're getting kills and all of a sudden you're not, if they're
Mhm.
digging them up, then you know you need to say, like, what's going on over there.
Right.
So but yeah, they definitely weren't as offensive
Mhm.
as they were.
Yep.
And I don't remember, I want to say when she played, I think they had her on the left when they played here.
Mhm.
So you know, just little changes like that makes a difference. Speaking of liberos, I thought Glada did a really good job for us.
Yeah.
Glada did a good job. Sophia did a good job. Isa did a good job,
Mhm.
you know, on defense.
Yep.
So I was glad I was able to, you know, get them in and let them get some playing time and a little bit of experience, because, you know, you never know, they might have to be out there
Yeah.
for the next 3.
The next city, no,
So-
for sure. And that's been one of the good stories this year was, you know, the questions, you know, how do you know, replace 1,000 digs
Mhm.
in that back row with Carmina, and just the way we've seen the team develop, you know, from the libero position, from a defensive position where, you know, it was very similar to when Regina Tovar graduated.
Mhm.
You know, Coach Moreno, you know, was put in a spot like, well, who's going to be the point guard? Who's going to be the scorer?
Mm.
And, you know, those are some legitimate concerns when,
Oh, yeah,
when you lose a 4-year
definitely.
starter like that.
Yeah.
But it wound up, you know, Coach Drew put it perfectly. He's like, we're just going to play Spurs basketball, where, you know, everyone's going to contribute, everyone's going to score points.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of the same situation here, where you just mentioned it, Isa, Clara,
Mhm. It's not just
Sophia,
one. Yeah.
yeah, Olivia Wood, you know, all those girls in that back row contributing defensively, where we're
Yeah.
not just getting all the digs from one person,
Mhm.
but we're getting a contribution from really that entire
which
back
is
row.
which is ideal.
Mhm.
I think it's ideal because,
Mhm.
you know, as a coach, if I know it's only the libero that can play defense,
Mhm.
well, I'm gonna stay away from her. I'm gonna hit everywhere else. You
Yeah.
know, I'm gonna tell my kids hit everywhere else.
Mhm.
But if it's the libero and then it's your middle back and then it's your setter also, or who's ever playing right side, then you're kind of really gonna have to work
Mhm.
for points. And
Yep.
I you know, I'm really proud of them because, I mean, Sophia, Clara, Isa, Gali,
Mhm.
Olivia, like you mentioned, you know, there's so many of them that can play good defense. And so that really, as I think, it really helps us
Yep.
as an overall team defensive wise. Now,
Yep.
we don't want to be just defensive, obviously. We
Yeah.
need to be offensive. But
Yep.
I was talking to Gali a little bit, and she had been mentioning, you know, she felt like she was struggling. And I told her, hey, I saw you on the right side. You took a, she said, I felt it. And I said, good. Let's go back to feeling that again. But, you know, she's just been real steady.
Mhm.
So, and I'm really proud of her because, she has grown up a little bit. You know,
And
a
still
little bit.
just and still just
And
a,
still
a
just a
sophomore.
sophomore, yeah.
Right. So there's still a lot of growing
Yeah.
to do. But we're going to take our break. When we come back, we're going to break down the week that's coming up for the Lady Bloodhounds with both St. Mary's tomorrow, and then it's a quick turnaround as the team will head to San Antonio to take on Providence. When we come back, this is Coffee with Coach O.
Hello, sports fans. I'm Jason Starkey with Gallery Homes.
Here at Gallery, we make building your new home simple and stress-free. From sales to selections, we handle every step so you can enjoy the journey to your new home. This is Gallery, where your dreams become reality.
At Brownsville ISD, every journey starts with a strong foundation.
Our academic programs inspire curiosity and critical thinking.
In athletics, students unleash their potential while diving into school spirit.
Creativity shines throughout our various fine arts programs.
Our career and technical education provides students with essential skills for the workforce.
With dual enrollment courses, students can earn college credits while still in high school.
Brownsville ISD,
One team,
one dream.
Elevation, AT4, AT4X, Denali. Case closed. For your GMC, we're professional grade.
Permatemp Personnel Services has been servicing local businesses for the past 29 years. Leave the hiring to us. Let us become your personal hiring guru. We have a network of skilled employees to fit your needs. Your success is our strategy.
Don't hesitate. Call us now.
Sunny Glen Children's Home has provided a place of hope for every child since 1936. If you'd like more information on Sunny Glen and the services we offer, please visit us at www.sunnyglen.org.
I want to be a doctor.
I want to play professional soccer.
I want to play at Carnegie Hall.
At Brownsville ISD, dreams take shape with nationally recognized academic programs, championship athletics, and distinguished fine arts. Success isn't just a goal, it's our tradition. The best choice for your child's journey is Brownsville ISD.
Time to take a new look, maybe your first look at Buick. If smart, hip, and affordable is for you, Buick's your brand. For your Buick, Brownsville, Texas.
All right, welcome back. Our final segment here is we'll preview the preview of the week. Tomorrow a match against St. Mary's, and then Thursday we will head to San Antonio to take on San Antonio Providence. So we saw St. Mary's the first trip up there in San Antonio, and they're a well improved team.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the playoff standings late last week, and we were just counting the wins, and we had St. Mary's Hall's number the last couple of years, and that's really the caveat in this district race is that, there's a new team that's emerged, and they've come a long way. I know I had read an article about on just their turnaround as a program, how, I think 2-3 years ago they were winless, and they went from 0 wins to 10 wins to 15 wins, and this year they really taken it over the top. But what was your overall thoughts when you first saw the first time we played St. Mary's?
I mean, when I saw them, and I saw them in warm up, and I always tell the kids, because the kids always freak out. Oh my God! Oh, look what she hit the ball! Oh my God! And I'm like, guys, you're talking about a perfect toss,
right?
Which would be like a perfect set.
Right.
Which, when the game is going on, you're never gonna get the same set, exactly the same way. And so, because you've got the pass that has to be the determining factor of where that set's going to go and who's going to go to and how high or what, whatever. And I told him, a lot of teams can hit like that off of a toss, because it's right there. You don't have to do anything else but jump up and hit it.
Right.
I said, you can see the skill and the talent. I said, but what's really going to be the determining factor on what the player can actually do in a game is, what they do with the pass and a set,
right.
and you input the, the blockers and stuff like that. So, but when I saw them hitting, I was like, okay,
It's gonna be a little
okay,
difficult.
that's not the St. Mary's from 2 or 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and they were pretty impressive. And I thought, I didn't say it out loud, but I thought to myself, I think this could be the district champion team this year.
Yeah.
And, I think Victoria beat them.
That was
I don't know if it was in 3 or, I don't remember. But anyway.
I think it was in 4.
In 4. And I said, okay. So Victoria stepped up their game. And but I know they still have to play them, I think.
Yes.
One more time.
They got to play one more time. Yeah.
So I mean, who knows? They definitely. What I was kind of looking at was like, Sax beat us in 4 when we played them over there. We almost beat them, and we went 5. And then Sax turns around and beats Victoria in 5, and we went, and it's like, it's just. I think those top 3 are gonna come down to the last.
Well, Sax
match.
beating Victoria helps St. Mary's cause, because now when they meet up, that's essentially for the district championship.
Yeah, for the district
It's gonna be an
championship.
outright.
Yeah, because they're both 1-1.
Yeah, both each have one loss. So we did go 5 sets against Sax.
Yeah,
Here. So we've gone twice. Earlier I had said once.
Yeah.
We've won twice.
No,
so
yeah, we
Laredo
went.
and Sax.
We went with Sax, and I was so excited because I was like, I know they can do this, but just a couple little hiccups, and that'll sometimes cost you, 1 or 2 points. But I was like I told them, I said, I'm proud of the way you played, because I thought we played really, really well when we played against Sax. So, with St. Mary's tomorrow, I mean, you just never know,
Right.
if the kids can, just like say, hey, let's do this. What do we have to lose?
Right.
We have nothing to
Right.
lose against Sax, against St. Mary's or Victoria, and everything to gain.
Right.
So, if they go in with that mentality, then stranger things have happened.
Oh, for sure.
So I think, but I definitely think, that I thought at the beginning of the season that St. Mary's was probably a contender for the district championship.
Absolutely.
Which would be a
yeah.
first since I've been
Really?
in district. I mean, we started in 2017, 2018. I can't remember what year it was. Victoria was already they were district champions for I don't know how many years. Because we were in the district with Victoria from the get-go when we got into TAPS. My first varsity season, and actually the very first varsity season we were district runner-up to Victoria, and at the time it was us, Victoria, Laredo, and the 2 Corpus schools. But and then I found out that they were state champs, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, they've always been number one. So
that'll be certainly a
that'll
good
be a
match
to watch.
Keep an eye on.
Yeah.
St. Mary's and Victoria. But again, so there's just 3 games left in the regular season, and Lady Bloodhounds, they're working hard trying to find their way back into the postseason. Again, it'll start tomorrow here at home. 2, 3, and 4, or what? We'll triple check the times. Tomorrow they'll be home against St. Mary's, and then again a quick turnaround for the team that they'll have a match Tuesday, get some rest on Wednesday, and then they'll be back on the road Thursday. So sometimes that can be a little it can be a little tough.
It can be a little tough, but at the same time, it doesn't really give us a whole lot of time to think about a lot. It's just like, hey, this is what we need to do today. We're gonna kind of not go all out and stuff, and then just flip it and go. So tomorrow, St. Mary's Hall is 1, 2, and 3.
So 1, 2, and 3 tomorrow here at home against St. Mary's Hall. Again, it is also the last home game of the regular season. So if you haven't had a chance to come out and make a game, I encourage you to do it. Tomorrow at 1, 2, and 3 in the Dome. We'll have the freshmen and the JV. They didn't get to play on Saturday. There was no sub-levels from St. Anthony's. So
they're back on.
Yeah, they'll be back
tomorrow.
They'll be back and for Thursday as well. Providence has a sub. So
and Victoria.
So
their last 3.
Okay.
They'll be on.
So the freshmen and JV, like Coach O said, they'll be back in action for the final 3 games along with the varsity. So, Coach, any final thoughts before I let you go?
No, just we're going to go out there and try our best and hopefully come out with a win.
Absolutely. That's Coach Dolores Holguin, Kevin Naro as always. And again, a special thank you to Miss Amanda and everyone here in the Bloodhound Cafe for always letting us hang out here on a Monday morning. I'll throw it in already. Basketball is coming soon, so stay tuned for some double dribble with Coach Sammy and Coach Moreno. Talking to you. He's gonna hopefully gotta get him on some shows this year, but
Sammy?
Coach Sammy,
Moreno.
Coach Moreno. Coach Moreno has been he's hiding from me, but we're gonna get him on
camera
his
shy.
shows. He's very camera shy. He's gonna come on the show. We'll get him on here, but for sure, Coach Sammy and I will be here in the Bloodhound Cafe. We'll keep the same time Mondays at 10 a.m. as basketball season starts later this month. And
so who's been doing it? Drew?
Coach Drew. Coach Drew's been filling in for Coach Moreno. We'll
yeah,
talk
I've known Coach
basketball.
Moreno a long time. He's always been that really, really shy.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because 2 weeks ago, one of my buddies is a coach at Harlingen, and they were at Hannah. And, he's one of the JV coaches. He's my best friend, so I'll go and support him at his games. And I went down to the old gym in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling him, I said, hey.
The original gym?
The original gym. And I was walking down the ramp. And I was telling him, I said, hey, our volleyball coach, Coach O, said that back then that this used to be like the entrance because it was down a ramp. You go into a gym, and like that was like the place to play back then at Hannah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the funny ongoing joke we have is we always say the house that how Mondo Perez. Do you remember him? He played for Coach Guzman at Pace.
Yeah.
We always joke that like Pace is the house that Mondo built, or Marco Hinojosa, the house that Marco built at Lopez.
Yeah.
So the ongoing joke is it the house that Robert built? Is it the house that Coach O built? Is it the house that Sammy
I think
built?
it was Coach O, because Coach O was a lot longer than Robert O. Sammy.
yeah. We always have that fun joke of like who's the house that built?
It's funny because when they were building that new gym, I guess several people were throwing in their 3 cents about what it should be called, and somebody was saying Don Denson should be the Don Denson gym. And somebody was saying somebody else, some other coach or whatever. And somebody piped in and they were like, well, what about Coach O? She was there a long time too. And I was like, don't even get me involved, dude. I don't need any more controversy than I already have.
You could always name the gym and then you could name the floor.
Yeah, right?
That's
true.
That's how they have it at Sam's. It's the Joe Rod Field and it's Sam's Stadium.
That's true.
Just saying.
Anybody out there listening?
Just saying. That's awesome. Well, this has been another episode of Coffee with Coach O. Again, come out and support the Lady Bloodhounds tomorrow here at home against St. Mary's Hall. And then, of course, we'll be back on the road Thursday against San Antonio Providence. So last home game tomorrow. Come out and support the girls. We'll see you guys next week. This has been Coffee with Coach O.
Is it?